Monday mayhem from Oxnard, California, as the Physicality and the Pads are back. Tune in for some extra level practice. Here from Oxnard, it's Training Camp Live presented by American Airlines. Welcome into another Training Camp Live presented by American Airlines alongside Isaiah Stanback. I'm Kyle Youmans. The ones are on the field going through first, second, third, fourth down. Sounds like a regular game a little bit, so you get to have some fun there, but then we'll get into some pressure situations here in a moment. Let's go ahead and check it out as the first team takes the field. Dak Prescott high-fiving and giving some knuckles to each and every one of his offensive players. This is a fun day, because this is the day the pads come back on.
You're hearing a lot of noise out here, Kyle. Wasn't no noise last week, but now you're starting to hear these pads hit, getting a little bit of helmet action, and you're starting to see guys get their fits and see exactly what they're doing in terms of this offense and defense.
Well, watch Dak here as he hands it off to Tony Pollard. Pollard slips to the left-hand side, running off the back hip of Chuma Edoga. And we've talked about it already on a couple other shows, but when the pads come on, it normally benefits the offensive line because now they have something to grab onto.
Yeah, they can get their fits. I mean, now all of a sudden, you're not trying to hold on to jerseys. You actually have some pads underneath there, and you can utilize your forehead, obviously to strike, and you get a hold of those shoulder pads a little bit.
Here you go, Prescott back in the shotgun. You got Tolbert to his left. He's going to look that direction, but it's instead to Ferguson. He bobbled it initially, covered by Damone Clark, and Ferguson holds on for the catch.
Yeah, that's a good catch right there. Nice contested. A lot of these passes are going to be contested, especially with this new West Coast offense. A lot of shorter routes.
I was going to ask about that because that's one of those quick reads, quick release. There's really no time wasted there from Dak Prescott, and if that's going to be the case, you got to have some separation from your tight ends, from your wide receivers. Does that make things harder on the pass catchers to get their job done?
Well, it's going to be. They just have to realize that they're going to be a lot more contested passes. These guys are going to have to do a good job of having a great stem off the line of scrimmage, getting guys' hands off of them, and then getting into their routes and trying to create some separation at the top of the break.
That one to Cavante Turpin, diving catch right in front of Malik Hooker.
Yeah.
Look at Turpin getting some run. It was him, Fehoko, and Tolbert as the wideouts in that one scenario, but they were going up against the first-team defense.
You love to see it, especially you want to see number 9 with the ball in his hand. The more reps they can get with that in his hand, obviously the greater opportunity for big plays.
He's looking to get in a rhythm as a wide receiver. Of course, he made such an impact that he made a Pro Bowl from a special team standpoint. Now can he find a rhythm offensively as the starting wideouts are back in? Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks. As they'll put Cooks in a little bit of motion here. High snap for Prescott. He'll have to roll out to his left, and he's going to just tuck it and run. Had some space there. You like to see that from Dak, though, using the mobility to his advantage.
When necessary. When necessary, you want him to utilize his legs to find his way out of trouble. You don't want him to be forced. But like I said, with a lot of these quick reads, if your first and second options are taken, sometimes you have to use them feet and scoot on out of that pocket.
And he's okay to do that here because nobody can hit him. He's
Facts.
got a red jersey
Facts.
on.
That red is nice and bright.
New red jersey back behind center now as Cooper Rush will take the second team reps. And he'll hand that one directly off to Rico Dowdle, who bounces off a couple defenders. Jonathan Hankins got in there. So did Dante Fowler Jr.
Yeah, Fowler came off that edge screaming. You're seeing that a lot today with these defensive ends really squeezing and really condensing not only the pocket on the passing, but also the running lanes.
You can feel the energy. A little hurry up here from Cooper Rush and company, and looked like miscommunication there.
Big Mozzie's in there too. Big Mozzie over there getting tussled in the middle.
Making things tough. Cooper was trying to get that to John Stevens, the tight end, who's gotten off to a great start, but he threw it back behind him. Looked like either Stevens ran the wrong route or Cooper Rush thought he ran the wrong route.
Either way, it's a waste of rep, unfortunately. When you start getting to those second team, third team reps, you can't take advantage of every rep that you're given in practice.
And you'll see a lot of Cooper Rush. Of course, Will Greer in terms of preseason action starting on August 12th against Jacksonville. Isaiah will be in the booth for all 3 preseason games. I'll be in the booth for the first 2. Should be a whole lot of fun. Little offsides. Cooper Rush going to test this one deep. Far side, and it's incomplete. Broken up at the last moment by Eric Scott. Tyron Johnson was the intended target. A very good throw from Cooper Rush, though.
That was a freaking dime. That's what we call dropping it in a bucket. One thing you like to see is Johnson try to hold off that man at the end a little bit, but great job by Eric Scott breaking it up.
That's a nice job from Cooper Rush, too, recognizing that the defense was a bit offsides. They were a bit early, and because of that, he's able to pull the trigger and try the deep ball.
No harm.
Johnson will go out to the right. You've got David Durden in at wide receiver, Dontario Drummond.
Looks like the same play.
I think they're running it back. Jose Barbone out there as well. Ronald Now Jones will do some pass protection. They get it out to Tyron Johnson. Took a lick that time. The pads are back on, and there's a nice little welcome hit. Sheldrick Redwine was the one that laid down the pop.
You're seeing a lot of 3-by-1 sets, a lot of 3 receivers on one side, 1 receiver to the other, and that 1 receiver is going to have a lot of opportunities for one-on-one matchups. So as we were talking about those quick hitters, you're going to see those guys have the chance to win versus one guy instead of having to worry about that safety.
They're going to call this 4th down and about 4 from the 36-yard line. We're going to see a lot of late down scenarios worked between the 1s and the 2s here in this segment. And that's where it gets fun. Whenever you get the pressure of really trying to ramp it up the game touch as much as possible.
Nice.
Wide open, Jalen Brooks.
He's been showing up today.
7th rounder.
He has been showing up. I'm liking what he's doing out here. He's not only running great routes, so he's creating the separation at the top of the stem, which is how you get open in this league.
All right, Isaiah, since it's your first training camp live, I want you to pick a player. We're going to ISO him on this play, okay?
All right.
Who do you got?
I'm going with Big Tyron.
Going Tyron Smith on the left tackle spot. He's got Sean McEwen shaded to his right at tight end. D-Law's over there, but look at Leighton Vander Esch standing over the top of him. See what Tyron can do on this play. Got 2 receivers to that side as well. Went up against Jaron Curse, and they're going to let that one fly. Caught by Gallup far side. It looked like Stephon Gilmore lost his footing.
Yeah, it looked like he lost his footing, but before that, you saw Big Tyron in there, and they tried to bring some pressure, and Curse wanted no parts of that.
That didn't work, did it?
No, not so much.
Tyron's looked great through training camp. Of course, a big question is his health. Can he continue to stay on the field? And as long as he's on the field, he continues to be an elite-level offensive tackle.
There's a lot of speed at the receiver position right now in this group. Fehoko, Turpin, Tolbert.
Ended up in a good play last time out. You got Tony Pollard back behind. D-Law got through, and
screen.
You had to screen it to Tony Pollard.
Love to see it.
Do you want to see the screen game get going more effectively this year?
Yes, you definitely want to see the screen game, and I feel like we're going to see a lot more of that, especially with this West Coast. Again, this West Coast offense is all predicated on getting the ball in the hands of your playmakers. They're not trying to sit back there and take the risk of getting sacks. They want to get the ball out as quickly as possible and get their blockers out in front so they can make some plays with these talented receivers and running backs.
Oh, we got trips receivers to the left here, including tight end Peyton Hendershot in the formation.
See, it's going to be all about getting off this release.
Lamb, Cooks, Hendershot. They got a quick release to Brandon Cooks, who left Nashawn right in the dust, and then he put a foot in the ground against Malik Hooker as well.
I'll tell you what, I know he's been around the league for a while, but he is looking like a young spring chicken. That dude can run some routes, man. He is a route specialist, and that's what it's going to bring to this receivers group. His chest is always over his toes. He's in and out of his breaks, and that's where you see that separation. Along with his speed, he can create separation, and that's dangerous.
And even with the ball in his hands, you could see the way that he just put a foot in the ground. And Malik Hooker, who's been as solid as anybody at the safety position through the first week here in Oxnard, stepped up and even whiffed on Brandon Cooks. Different group in at offensive line for the most part. Excuse me, actually, that's the same offensive line. First team O-line still out there. Different right tackle, different center.
Take it out.
And got some pressure. D-Law got in there. Looks like Neville Gallimore got some touch. Then you got Malik Davis downfield, but that would have been a sack far before that throw.
Great job by the defense. Not only did they get pressure, but they also had containment too. So made life a little bit hard for Dak.
Yeah, at center that time it was Brock Hoffman, and then at right tackle it was Matt Waletzko, and both Hoffman and Waletzko had a bit of a lapse. You had Josh Ball at right guard, he was okay, and then you had Tyron and Tyler with both Smiths on the left. Here's Will Greer, who's going to roll out on a little bootleg. You're going to see a lot of these bootlegs as well as he puts it on the money to Tyron Johnson.
But how about them utilizing their fullback with an I formation? When's the last time you saw an I formation in Dallas?
It's been a little bit.
It's been a minute.
Had Deuce Vaughn in the formation. They had Hunter Lipke up there.
Yeah.
For those who have been asking about Hunter Lipke, he's had some reps, but it's just been limited reps.
Correct.
I think they're still trying to find a role for him through at least 1 week. You got Deuce still back in the backfield. You excited to see him now that the pads are on?
I am, especially when you start looking at these 3-by-1 sets, because there's 3 receivers to the left, but he's also shifted to the left as well.
They're going to give him on a bit of counter.
That's a lot of space.
Had a good block set on the right side. I believe it was Farniak who really set the edge, and then Chuma Edoga who had another nice finish.
And those are large human beings. And when you have large human beings blocking and you have a little guy back there, he can play hide and go seek. And when he pops out, he has the juice to go ahead and make big plays.
All right, pick somebody to ISO here. Who do you want to look at? As Lipke's in the backfield. Now he's going to
Jalen Brooks. He got one-on-one out here. Looks like it's going to be an all-out blitz, so he's going to have an opportunity to win.
There he is. There's Jalen Brooks.
Oh, they dropped out.
That's Brooks v. Brooks.
Nice separation.
Got it right there. Great ISO, my friend.
Sir.
Jalen Brooks beats Miles Brooks, both rookies. Brooks was a 7th-round pick. Miles Brooks was an undrafted free agent. You saw the separation, able to get a little extension.
Got a little extension. You want to see them hands a little bit tighter, but we didn't see any flags come out. We do have the zebras out here. They didn't throw no flags, so I'm going to go ahead and count that as a win for the good guys.
You good guys offense?
Yeah, doggone right, good guys are offense.
You played offense.
Defense
I
guys
think
are
you're
bullies.
a little biased. That's okay. That's fine. We'll go back to Will Greer here. Big summer for Greer if he wants to find a role as a backup, and the defense is going to call a timeout here.
They saw Lipke in the backfield by himself. I think they got a little concerned.
Remember, Mike McCarthy is the play caller here, and it's a little bit different. He even said today that, of course, I want the offense to succeed, and then he was asked, well, what happens when the defense succeeds? He says, then I put my head coach hat on.
That's it. That's it.
He has
that leverage. What we got down here? Okay.
Got Johnson to the left, Lipke in the backfield again. Will Greer.
Cover 2.
He threw that one wide open, far side to Jalen Cropper.
That's a good job by Will Greer being able to decipher exactly what that coverage is. They presented something to him pre-snap. That coverage changed post-snap, and he was able to find the right guy.
He went all the way through his progression.
He did.
I mean, he went left to right all the way through. All right, we've got 3rd down and 4th down situations here, Isaiah, and these are imperative for early growth on your offense because when the pressure's on, you have to be able to execute, and these are the plays that are going to allow you to do so.
Absolutely, and when you're offensive of the Dallas Cowboys, you have the pleasure of going against probably one of the best defenses in the league.
CeeDee Lamb made that look easy, though. That didn't look like the best defense in the league. That was pitch and catch.
I'm trying to tell you, it's that West Coast, Kyle.
That was about 15 yards, no problem.
Easy.
For Prescott and Lamb.
That's the thing. When you have the West Coast offense and you have a lot of your routes that are predicated on short routes, all right, everything within 5 yards, when you bring that pressure, there's going to be holes right there available for you to take advantage of.
See Marquise Bell switching sides as Hooker will back up defensively. Ooh, Micah Parsons with a great rush. He got in there quickly, and they blew it dead. And really, no doubt, Micah Parsons had the sack there.
I'm not sure, Kyle. He still looked like he did a good job of going ahead and running them by is what we call it. Just running them by on the outside. It looked like he might have got there, but Dak was able to step up.
You've got T.J. Bass in there playing a little right guard. Tyler Biotish at center. Tyron and Tyler Smith at left tackle and left guard. And a right tackle, you got
T-Steele versus
Steele.
Parsons. That's
Let's
what it tests out that
Let's
knee.
watch that ISO. We got Terrence Steele versus D-Law and Parsons with a nice little stunt. Pocket clean for Dak at the moment, but nobody open downfield. Not until Brandon Cooks got a little separation, but Nashawn Wright stuck with him.
Nashawn Wright did a heck of a job of staying with him, making a contested play over there on the ball, forcing incompletion.
So there's the ones. First try at 3rd down and 4th down. They converted on the first one, did not on the second one. And so they'll get off the field. Now Cooper Rush will get a shot. Matt Farniok appears to be the center. You got Matt Waletzko, who will take some snaps at right tackle.
You got the second offensive line. You know who I've been seeing today, Cod, has been showing up? It's been Golston. Golston's been doing a good job on the interior defensive line. Obviously, one of those high-profile positions this year.
He's played a little 3 technique, played a little 5 technique.
Double.
Bounce around that D-line. Now Cooper Rush going to let that fly. David Durden downfield. Almost had the reception. He had the distance between him and Eric Scott, but he couldn't hold on.
Yeah, ball got out a little bit later than he probably wanted to, but he gave him a chance, and he just got to come down with that catch somehow, some way.
Eric Scott Jr., who really got off to a great start in camp, has since had some growing pains. I mean, he's a 6th-round pick. He's a rookie.
That's right, but I mean, I've seen him make 2 breakups today so far, so he's doing a good job.
He's had to come from behind on both
Facts.
of those, though.
Facts.
Here's Cooper Rush again. Trips receivers to his right. Dontario Drummond, Dennis Houston. And there's Houston on the reception in between a couple players, and that goes back to the West Coast concepts, making it easy on your quarterback.
Especially when you start getting those bunch sets like that, it makes it hard on the defense to play man-to-man coverage. So you force zones, and then you obviously, as an offensive team, you get the looks that you're hoping for.
This has been such a fun practice. The energy has been high. The pads are back on. You can feel the popping again. And ultimately, it's also a long practice, with that being said. I mean, this is the hottest day we've had in Oxnard. It's 84 degrees right now, which I know everybody back in Texas is scoffing at 84
It
degrees.
feels hotter.
The sun is beating down today, so this is a good practice. Lots of progress being made, and there's Cooper Rush near side. Sean McEwen completion, but he slipped down.
It's a good job by the offensive line. Pat, a
little bit of something happening in the back.
Physical.
That's Wanye Thomas shoving. Matt Let's-Go. Chauncey Golston in there to break it up. Dante Fowler Jr. not happy either.
I love to see it from Tyler Biotish, man. Holding it down for the O-line, protecting his quarterback.
All the way back out to at least get in the mix there as the ones will step back in. That wasn't even the ones, Isaiah, getting some pushing and shoving. Those are guys that are fighting for position. Bruce.
And the offensive line did a good job of picking up that stunt.
Here we go with Dak again, and he got Dante Fowler offsides. Of course, right over the middle, there's Jalen Tolbert. Probably could have run that one through a little bit longer, but again, you don't want to have a wasted rep. That's one thing we saw with Dante Fowler Jr. last year. If one thing turned into another thing, you got to limit those penalties, especially if something like that happens where a little pushing and shoving, a little bit of talking, you got to be able to compartmentalize.
Yeah, you got to go on to the next play. Now you got the D-Law versus Steele and Fowler.
Got J-Ron Kurtz all the way up at the line of scrimmage as well. All-out blitz, engage 8, putting some pressure on Prescott, and the throw goes high, trying to find Simi Fehoko.
Yeah, but only unfortunate thing is not only did Dak have pressure, but there's a dude by the name of Stephon Gilmore sitting in the hip pocket of Simi Fehoko. So the chances of that being completed on that particular route weren't that high.
How big is it to have Gilmore in the fold and a veteran like that in the cornerback room? I mean, Trayvon Diggs is on the sideline currently. He did the individual drills, but he's been limited in terms of team stuff with a toe injury. But having Gilmore as that go-to voice as a defensive back, how big is that?
It's huge. I mean, because you look on the other side of the field and you have a man in there who is an all-pro multiple times and just super confident, super relaxed, and understands what they're trying to do defensively.
Guess who? Micah Parsons was in the backfield again. Little double clutch and a throw to Jalen Tolbert. He holds on right in front of us. He was covered by Deron Bland. And that's going to do it here for us on Training Camp Live. The twos will continue going, but we do have to get out of here at some point. What are your first takeaways in terms of your first camp practice you've gotten to see?
I like the tempo. Obviously, this is the first day with pads on. I like the tempo, but I really like the West Coast and what that's providing for Dak in terms of quick, high-precision passes, able to get the ball in the hands of his receivers, and they can make some plays with it.
Couple big completions, couple easy completions, making it easy on your quarterback and pushing this offense forward. Should be a whole lot of fun. Guess what? It's not the last we'll hear of Isaiah Stanback. Jalen Brooks just had a touchdown grab, by the way, so we turned her away at the wrong play. We'll probably just find it on Twitter. It's on there somewhere. Not the last time you'll see Isaiah. He'll be on sporadically throughout Training Camp Live this summer. But for Isaiah Stanback, for Alex Lilly behind the camera, I'm Kyle Youmans saying so long. We'll see you tomorrow with more Training Camp Live.